Have you ever tried to cancel a subscription and been sent down an endless rabbit hole of links, menus, and discounts, all begging you to stay? Not only is it frustrating, it's also a complete waste of time. We've got RNG weighted Godrolls to grind, and every minute counts. It's for this and many other reasons why I started to use Rocket Money. Rocket Money is the personal finance app that helps you cancel subscriptions, lower your bills, and manage your money better. With Rocket Money, I can cancel those unwanted subscriptions with just a few taps. It allows me to save time and money so that I can focus on what really matters, like beating raids in Destiny Rising. Rocket Money also allows you to set a custom budget, which can keep you from losing your life savings on Gwyn pulls. Let me just say, fellas, stay strong, hide those wallets, and set those limits. Rocket Money has helped save its customers up to $740 a year when they use all these features. With over $500 million in canceled subscriptions, it is the app when it comes to saving more and spending less. You can join over 5 million members today who also use Rocket Money. If you're interested, guys, feel free to check out our link down below at rocketmoney.com/Aztecross. You can click the link in the description and you can get started completely for free. And if you don't like it, you can cancel. They've also got a premium version, but feel free to just test the waters out. Thank you again to Rocket Money for sponsoring today's video. Guys, today we're going to be looking at the weapon we have been waiting all season for, Tinasha's Mastery. This is a rocket-assisted frame sidearm, meaning it consumes special ammo, but this one is especially unique because it is a stasis weapon. And given the environment of this season, stasis weapons, and really stasis as a whole, is very, very good. Now, let me just say, this entire archetype is such a good archetype. Since it first debuted with Indebted Kindness this time last year, every time one of these has rolled out, it's pretty much been non-stop banger after banger. You have Indebted Kindness, which is our arc variant, Aberrant Action, our solar variant. For Strand, we have the Call, and now Tinasha's Mastery for stasis. Now, the only way to get this weapon is by playing Iron Banner. That's right, PvE players. You're gonna have to play Iron Banner for this thing. And I won't lie to you fellas, it's a painful experience. For some reason, Iron Banner has been more laggy this time around than ever before. The lobby balancing has been brutal, but if you could trudge through that, as soon as you unlock this weapon on the rank path rewards, you can then begin using your Iron Banner Ingrams to focus for that oh so sweet Godroll Tinasha's Mastery. Now, if you're a PvP only player, let me just say, don't use this weapon inside of PvP. Really, don't use any rocket assisted sidearm inside of PvP. The ammo economy is terrible. You get 3 shots when you spawn, and you can barely even get a kill with those 3 shots. Now, what this weapon may lack inside of PvP, it makes up for it substantially inside of PvE. Look at these rolls, guys. We have so many things to go over with this weapon, and I know everyone's gonna be looking at that chill clip roll for obvious reasons, but there is so much to unpack with this sidearm. I'm gonna go over my experience with it, how it felt, the different builds that we utilized with it, because with that right build, Tinasha's Mastery might just be the best rocket-assisted sidearm in the game. Now, taking a look at the stats, Tinasha's Mastery is right in line with the rest of the others. There is some standout ones. It has the highest base stability, but it also has the second lowest base reload. If we take a look at the damage here against Carl, we can see here that all of our rocket sidearms deal the same damage of 17,550 damage outside of Buried Bloodline. Now, walking through the traits real quick. In column 3, we have Air Trigger, Offhand Strike, Deconstruct, Enlightened Action, Impulse Amplifier, Loose Change, and Reverberation. Don't worry, guys, we're gonna go through and break down many of these. In our 4th column, we have Adagio, Bait and Switch, Chill Clip, Desperate Measures, Frenzy, One for All, and Surrounded. Now, I want to start with some of the most interesting perks, especially in column 3, one of them being Air Trigger. Air Trigger increases ammo reserves. It also states that when airborne, accuracy and reload speed are increased, but target acquisition is decreased. Guys, as long as you're airborne, when you hit the reload button, you passively gain 30 reload speed, a 0.8 times reload duration multiplier. It also affects your accuracy cone size, but the big bump is in that inventory size. You get 30 inventory size tacked on when using this perk, which means on a sidearm, or this rocket assisted sidearm, that's anywhere between 10 to 12 extra shots. You can see right here, guys, we go from 39 total ammo. Then with Air Trigger, that jumps up to 49. It's a very good perk, guys, just for that inventory size increase. And considering that Bungie has been dialing back the ammo counts on these sidearms, we're having to go back to the drawing board to look for things that can help with that. Air Trigger is that trait that navigates around that nerf. Now, if you think it's an issue getting Air Trigger to proc, it's actually a lot easier than you think. You literally just bunny hop when you reload. Your feet just have to be slightly off the ground for Air Trigger to proc. Even more so, though, is the enhanced version of Air Trigger. This actually increases our inventory size size by 10 more. And this brings our ammo count from 49 to 51, and it also increases our reload speed bonus by 5. Somebody at Bungie really wants us to use this trait. Now, next up, we have Deconstruct. Now, you may not be a big fan of Deconstruct, guys, but let me just say, if you've been killed by Threshers, Brigs, which many of us have, Deconstruct has been an S-tier perk to deal with those enemy types. Now, the perk states that dealing sustained damage grants bonus damage against vehicles and constructs and refills ammo from reserves. Damage with primary ammo or against constructs provides additional progress. Constructs includes barricades, turrets, stasis crystals, and other objects created in the field. Now, upon scoring multiple hits within 6 seconds of each, this refills 10% of the magazine from reserves. Now, back in the day, this used to actually create ammo from thin air. It was a beautiful thing to behold. Deconstruct was literally S tier. Bungie has changed that though. It only pulls ammo from your reserves. Now, for Tinasha here, it takes 4 shots on normal enemies to proc Deconstruct, which will then reload 2 shots from reserves. And again, this happens every 4 shots. This has no cooldown, but it also can't overflow the magazine. Now, the other half is actually the increased damage portion, specifically to constructs, or the things that fall within that category of constructs. Now, when shooting at anything that falls under that umbrella, this will allow the perk to activate 2 times as fast for special weapons. So rather than taking 4 shots to proc, here, when shooting this Brig, for example, it only takes 2 shots to proc Deconstruct, which reloads our magazine from reserves and gives us a whopping 40% damage buff, which can be refreshed indefinitely. I feel like Deconstruct is greatly overlooked, guys, but 40% more damage, and it's also present in the 3rd column. Hot damn it! What more do you want? You can pair this with another damage perk and stack those damage buffs together. And since we're loading 2 bullets every 2 hits, we can essentially shoot forever, or at least until we run out of reserve ammo, which actually happens much quicker than you think. It's a very good perk though, guys, and we're gonna break down its trait synergy, most notably with things like Chill Clip, in just a moment. Now, moving on, we also have things like Enlightened Action. That's always been a really solid one just for the increase in reload speed. And I would say if you do get Enlightened Action, but a good trait in that 4th column, I definitely wouldn't shred it. I've been using Indebted Kindness now for a long time with Enlightened Action. That increase in reload speed is fantastic for proccing Volt shots, and it can be a pretty good perk here on Tinasha as well. Impulse Amplifier and Loose Change are also present in this 3rd column. Impulse Amplifier just gives you that increase in velocity as well as the increase in reload speed. I actually got a roll that I thought would be good inside of PvP, but again, this archetype inside of PvP is just terrible. But adding on that extra velocity, including the extra reload speed, does allow this weapon to feel more like a hit scan weapon versus a projectile weapon. Now, Loose Change also nets you a ton of benefits when applying an elemental debuff to a target. We're talking increase in reload speed, aim assist, movement while aiming down sights. Essentially, upon applying an elemental debuff, this will give you plus 50 reload, plus 20 aim assist, and a 20% decrease to ADS movement speed, all which lasts for 4.5 seconds, with the enhanced version bringing that timer up to 5 seconds. Now, when we initially learned that this weapon could roll with Loose Change alongside perks like Chill Clip, everybody was like, oh my god, that's the Godroll. And while I think it is a good perk, specifically with Chill Clip, I also believe that perks like Air Trigger and Deconstruct are far superior. Now, the last trait we really wanted to look at in this column is Reverberation, and we actually tested this out multiple times, and this is a perk that's left me perplexed, guys. It reads that final blows of this weapon increases the size of its detonation for a short duration. Now, what happens here is when you get a kill, you're granted 100 blast radius for 5.5 seconds or 6 seconds with the enhanced version. On paper, this sounds like a really good trait, right? More blast radius, bigger kabloomies, correct? No, at least not in our testing. The increase in blast radius doesn't seem to actually do anything. Doesn't increase our damage, doesn't increase our splash damage, and as far as I can tell, guys, it doesn't seem to increase the radius or have any cool synergy with perks like Chill Clip. I landed a Reverberation Chill Clip roll, and I thought that would be really cool to see if the radius itself was being increased. Let me just say, if it is, it's such a small increase that visually, I can't even tell. So overall, guys, in that 3rd column, I do believe Deconstruct and Air Trigger are your best perks. Now, this takes us to column 4. Fellas, there's a lot of things that are moving here that look good, and you've got some fantastic damage perks. You've got Bait and Switch with that 30% increase in damage. You simply just got to do damage with your heavy weapon and your primary weapon. You've got One for All, which is actually a really easy one to proc on this particular weapon. Considering it does do some levels of splash damage, you can hit multiple targets at once. Getting that 35% buff by just hitting 3 separate targets is an easy feat. You've got Adagio, which is kind of a weird one. Yes, you get that increase in damage by 30%. However, it does slow things down, slows that rate of fire down a bit, so keep that in mind. Surrounded is also present here, and with the ability to enhance it, you could put out some chunky damage. Part of me fantasizes about enhanced Surrounded with Deconstruct Deconstruct, we're talking 2 different traits, both netting us over 40% extra damage each. If only we could have had that back in Lightfall against Threshers. But listen, that's not what makes Tinasha's mastery special. It's Chill Clip. Chill Clip is the perk. Just like Volt Shot on Undeaded Kindness or Incandescent on Aberrant Action, it's Chill Clip that, in my opinion, that is the best option in this 4th column. You see, the perk states that direct hits with the top half of the magazine causes a detonation that slows nearby targets. Now, while you're at or above 50% of your mag capacity, direct hits apply 60 slow stacks, and this lasts for 4 seconds, and this tags enemies within 4 meters of whatever your shot hits. And this timer can actually be further increased. If you're rocking things like Whisper of Durance and you're on stasis, boom, that slow just got kicked up to 8 seconds. And when we take a look here at Chill Clip against Carl, it takes 3 shots in order to completely freeze them. Now, the enhanced version of Chill Clip passively grants us +5 stability, not really worth enhancing in my opinion, but base Chill Clip all on its own is so good. With just this perk, you have the ability to stun both unstoppable and overload champions, and even deal with barrier champions while radiant. Guys, we have no artifact mods for sidearms. This is just from this perk alone. Critical Anomaly, one of my favorite sniper rifles from Salvation's Edge, can roll Chill Clip, and that's exactly why we love that sniper rifle. It has the ability to counter multiple champions, and last season we had anti-barrier sniper rifle, so it had the ability to counter all 3. Flat-footed though, Chill Clip on Tinasha's mastery has the ability to stun 2 sets of champions with ease. This is an S tier option on this weapon, guys, and in my opinion, it surpasses everything else. Now, before we get into builds, artifact mods, and everything else, I do want to talk about the origin traits. This is the Iron Banner origin trait called Skulking Wolf, and it reads that while at low health, Guardian Final Blows with this weapon grant enhanced radar and removes you from the opposing radar. And this perk is only useful inside of PvP. I kind of wish it had something inside of PvE, considering this is the only origin trait present on this weapon, but it is what it is. Now, in regards to the barrel and mag perks, I do want to turn your attention to a tweet from Mossy Max over on Twitter. He actually recommends using both high explosive ordnance and backup mag to get the most reserve ammo possible. And as for your barrel perks, I would say anything to boost your velocity works really well here, as blast radius doesn't really seem to do much for this weapon. But this now takes us to what I believe is the Godroll, and also how good this weapon is with the right build. Now, understand, guys, what I choose as my Godroll here, I'm specifically choosing for like the ultimate stasis lockdown build. I'm talking freezing enemies left and right. The biggest constraint here, in my opinion, is your ammo economy, which is why you have to rock things like special ammo finders as well as special ammo finishers. You gotta have it now, guys. Air trigger though really helps with that. On top of the reserve bumps from things like backup mag and high explosive ordnance, you do a Chill Clip roll, air trigger, backup mag, high explosive ordnance, you're cooking, fellas. And yes, I know your magazine size could be bigger with things like maybe a pinned mag or even extended mag, but keep in mind, we're looking at bumping up the reserve ammo count, and then we can just use air trigger to reload to stay at the top half of the magazine so that we're always proccing Chill Clip. Again, keep in mind, guys, if you're rocking things like Facet of Command, you really don't even have to reload at all, at least manually. You see, freezing or suppressing a target reloads your equipped weapons, increases weapon stability, aim assist, airborne effectiveness, which essentially means you don't have to reload. You can see me rocking this with my Warlock build, which I'll have pinned down below with a dim link. I literally never have to reload. All of these things are synergizing together. I'm getting out freezes with Chill Clip, and this roll doesn't even have air trigger, which would have been really nice because that would have bumped up my reserve ammo. And again, the biggest drawback to this archetype is the limited amount of special ammo you have, which is why all these things that can go into bumping up your reserve ammo is just so good. Now, would I trade out air trigger for Deconstruct? Most notably, Deconstruct with Chill Clip. Now that sounds intriguing, right? The question that we wanted to answer, does Deconstruct get the buff when attacking frozen targets, considering that it's stronger against stasis crystals? Unfortunately though, that's not the case. You can see here at base, we hit for 38,616 damage, and then with Deconstruct and Chill Clip, we were still dealing the same damage of 38,616. By the way, big shout out to Dredge and Pain for allowing us to hop on his account and just test this rollout. I'm not saying that this isn't a good combination. It is. It's just not as good as we had hoped, or at least not as good as I had hoped. I was hoping that Deconstruct would essentially proc, or in this case, self-proc. Alas, that is not the case. But that's also not me saying that's not a great trait combination, especially against certain different enemy types. Briggs, Thresher, Cyclops. There's a number of enemy types within Destiny that Deconstruct works on. And this is a role that you could definitely utilize against those enemy types to get a 40% increase in damage while simultaneously getting freezes and shatter damage in from Chill Clip. However, for normal run and play, to me guys, Air Trigger plus Chill Clip is the way to go. Tagging on with the high explosive ordnance, backup mag, you've got a ginormous amount of reserves to roll with. Now, what are the artifact mods that synergize beautifully here, considering that this is a stasis weapon? Well, there's a lot of things, guys. Again, everything thematically here on our artifact revolves around stasis, at least most of it. You've got one with Frost, where while you have Frost armor, stasis weapons gain increased reload speed and stability. You've got Wind Chill, which I know states that rapid stasis weapon precision hits grant you a stack of Frost armor. We're not really doing precision damage here, but it's that boost that's so nice. Look at that. Dealing stasis weapon damage to slow targets has a chance to spawn a stasis shard. You got Armor of Aramis, Hail the Storm especially, where shattering stasis crystals releases shards of ice that damages and slows targets. You also have the boost from that, which states that shattering frozen targets and stasis crystals deals increased damage. It's a very nice buff, guys. And I also like to take advantage of things like Brain Freeze. Kinetic Impact is much better, especially with Anarchy, which is what I'm using here. You've got the thick of it if you're trying to top off armor charges. And if you're up against the Scorn, of course, take advantage of Fell the Revenant, where you deal increased damage to Scorn enemies. This is one of my favorite builds this season, guys. I literally just use a Healing Grenade, Devour, Bleak Watcher. I throw down my amped up Stasis Grenade into a group of enemies, or even on top of myself if I need to. I take advantage of things like Facet of Command, which pretty much auto reloads my weapon, which is fantastic for Chill Clip on Tinasha's Mastery. I use Facet of Ruin, which increases the size and damage of my shatter from those stasis crystals or frozen targets. I've got Facet of Awakening, Facet of Balance, which is really nice for topping off my grenade energy, and Facet of Hope. This is one of my favorite builds, fellas, and it does so well in pretty much all content this season that I didn't really think I needed anything else to make this build better. But Tinasha's Mastery has made it better. And what's even crazier is I don't even have the Godroll. I've got a Chill Clip roll, but this is not even the Air Trigger Godroll. Dude, I want that Air Trigger roll though, with high explosive ordnance, that backup mag alongside Chill Clip. That right there is going to allow me to lay on the trigger non-stop with this sidearm. For my PvE players out there, this is a must-have weapon. Do you have to brave Iron Banner? Yeah, you do. Keep in mind, if you're trying to grind for any weapons in Iron Banner, always wear Iron Banner gear, or at least the ornaments. You'll get the reputation boosts. Also have the emblem on. This will also give you more reputation boosts and gains. And pretty much as long as you're playing every single day and completing one of the challenges, as we get further into Iron Banner, your rep gains go up higher, which means more Iron Banner Ingrams for you and more opportunities to focus for that Godroll. Good luck, guys. We'll be over on our Twitch if you want to come join us. We'll be pulling people from the stream if you're looking for a squad to play Iron Banana with. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching. And as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.